in pre-title. When ice-cold billionaire CEO Victoria Sterling fires a janitor on Christmas Eve, she has no idea he's a former world-class cardiac surgeon hiding from a devastating past, or that his brilliant daughter will become the key to saving both their broken hearts and her crumbling empire. Snow falls like diamonds against the floor-to-ceiling windows of Manhattan's most exclusive venue. Crystal chandeliers scatter light across marble floors where women in couture gowns glide past men in tailored tuxedos. A string quartet plays Vivaldi. Champagne flows. This is where power dresses up and pretends to be elegant. Victoria Sterling arrives like winter itself. 3-4 years old, devastatingly beautiful, in an ice-blue Valentino gown, she moves through the crowd with the confidence of someone who owns half of it. Because she does. CEO of Sterling Global Industries, youngest woman to ever helm a Fortune 100 company, she built an empire from the ashes of her father's betrayal. Her dark hair is pulled back in a flawless chignon. Her expression could freeze vodka. Behind her, 3 assistants struggle with tablets and phones. Her head of security, Marcus, clears a path. People part instinctively. Some whisper. Most stare. She doesn't notice any of them. Behind the golden curtains and polished brass, the real machinery of luxury grinds forward. Daniel Carter, 38, pushes a maintenance cart through the service corridor. His janitor's uniform is clean but worn. His hands, surgeon's hands, though no one here knows that, guide the cart with unconscious precision. His face carries the kind of weathered kindness that comes from surviving what should have destroyed you. Beside him, holding his hand with fierce devotion, walks 8-year-old Emma Carter. Emma is all wild, brown curls, bright eyes, and relentless curiosity, barely contained in a red Christmas dress that's been carefully mended at the hem. She carries a worn backpack decorated with hand-drawn stars. "Daddy, why do rich people need so many forks?" Emma whispers, peeking through the service door at the gala. Daniel smiles, the kind that doesn't quite reach his eyes anymore. "Different forks for different courses, sweetheart. It's tradition." "That's silly. A fork is a fork." She pauses. "Daddy, your hands are shaking again." He stops, looks down at his trembling fingers, closes them into fists, opens them. The tremor remains, barely visible, but constant. The reason he can never operate again. Just tired. Long shift." "Here's always tired." Her voice cracks with 8-year-old wisdom that shouldn't exist. "You work too much. Someone's got to pay for those art supplies you love." He kisses the top of her head. "Go sit in the break room, okay? I need to check the ballroom before." "Mr. Carter!" A sharp voice cuts through the corridor. Gerald Winters, the hotel manager, strides toward them like a designer-suited missile. Everything about him screams expensive and empty. Perfect teeth, perfect hair, perfect contempt for anyone below his tax bracket. "What is that child doing here? This is a workplace, not a daycare." Daniel straightens, keeping his voice level. "Sir, it's Christmas Eve. Her babysitter canceled and—" "I don't care if Santa Claus canceled. This is the Sterling Gala. Do you have any idea who's out there?" Gerald's face reddens. "Ms. Sterling herself requested this event be flawless." "Flawless. And you bring a child?" Emma shrinks behind her father's leg. Daniel's jaw tightens. "She won't be any trouble. I promise." "Your promises mean nothing. You're barely competent as it is." Gerald glances at his watch. "One more screw-up, Carter, and you're done. Understand? There are 100 desperate people who'd kill for your job." He storms off, leaving Daniel standing there, trembling hands now clenched tight. Emma tugs his sleeve. I don't like that man. Me neither, sweetheart. Me neither. The gala is reaching its peak. Victoria Sterling stands on a raised platform, speaking to a circle of investors about Q4 projections. Her voice is measured, precise, devastating in its clarity. She's describing a hostile takeover, the way most people describe the weather. Daniel enters through the service entrance, cart in tow, Emma hidden behind him. He's supposed to restock the bar supplies during the speech. Invisible work by an invisible man. But Emma sees something he doesn't. A server, rushing with a tray of champagne flutes, doesn't notice the wet floor marker Daniel placed minutes ago. The server's foot hits the slick marble. Everything happens in slow motion. The server falls. The tray launches into the air. 20 crystal glasses, full of champagne, arc through the candlelight like a liquid constellation, directly toward Victoria Sterling. Emma doesn't think. She runs. Look out! The child crashes into Victoria's legs, just as the wave of champagne and shattering crystal explodes across the platform. Victoria stumbles backward, her $15,000 gown suddenly soaked, glass fragments glittering in her hair. The music stops. Every conversation dies. 400 pairs of eyes lock onto the scene. Victoria looks down at the small child clinging to her legs, then up at the horrified janitor frozen in the service entrance. For 3 seconds, nobody breathes. What the hell? Victoria's voice is quiet, deadly quiet. Emma looks up at her, still holding on. You're okay. I saved you. The glass would have cut your face. Daniel rushes forward, pulling Emma back. I'm so sorry, Miss Sterling. I'm so incredibly sorry. She didn't mean to assault me in front of half of Manhattan's financial district. Victoria's ice blue eyes sweep from the child to the father. Didn't mean to destroy a moment I've been planning for 6 months? Gerald appears like a summoned demon. Ms. Sterling, I cannot apologize enough. This man will be terminated immediately. Security. Wait, Daniel's voice cracks. Please, I need this job. I have a daughter too. You should have thought of that before bringing her here. Victoria wipes champagne from her face, with fingers that don't quite steady. For just a moment, beneath the ice, something flickers. Shock, genuine fear of what might have happened. But then it's gone. Emma steps forward, shaking off her father's hand. Don't fire him. He's the best daddy in the whole world. He works 2 jobs and reads me stories. And... Sweetheart, please. Daniel tries to pull her back. No. Emma's voice rises, clear and fierce. He saves people. He used to be a... Emma! Daniel's shout cuts through the ballroom. That's enough. The girl falls silent, tears streaming down her face. Victoria looks at her for a long moment. At this small, fierce creature in a mended dress, defending her father like a lioness. Something in her chest, something she thought died years ago, twists painfully. Gerald, Victoria says quietly. Clear the room. 5-minute break. But Miss Sterling, the schedule. Her gaze could shatter diamonds. 5 minutes. People scatter like birds. Victoria stands in the center of the now empty ballroom, champagne still dripping from her hair, surrounded by shattered crystal. Daniel holds Emma's hand, waiting for execution. Marcus. Victoria's head of security watches from the shadows. What's your name? Victoria asks finally. Daniel Carter, ma'am. And she is? Emma, my daughter. He swallows. I know what this looks like, but she was trying to help. If you need to fire me, fine. But please don't. Don't what? Don't humiliate her? Don't make a scene? Victoria tilts her head. How many times have you been humiliated in your life, Mr. Carter? The question lands like a punch. He falters. I'm guessing more than you can count. Victoria crouches down, designer gown and all, until she's eye level with Emma. Why did you push me? Emma wipes her eyes. The glass was going to hurt you. Daddy taught me to help people when they're in danger. Your daddy taught you that? He's really good at helping people. Emma's voice drops to a whisper, even though his hands shake now. Victoria's eyes flick to Daniel's hands. He immediately hides them behind his back. What did your daughter mean? Victoria says slowly, standing, when she said you save people. Nothing. She's 8. She has an imagination. She said you used to be something, before she could finish. Victoria steps closer. What were you? The silence stretches like taffy. A doctor, Daniel finally says. A cardiac surgeon. 7 years ago. Before. He doesn't finish. Victoria stares at him. Really looks at him for the first time. Sees the intelligence in his eyes. The careful way he carries himself. The hands that tremble with something more than nerves. You're a cardiac surgeon working as a janitor. Was a surgeon. Why? Daniel's face closes like a door. That's not relevant, Miss Sterling. I apologize for the disruption. If you want to fire me, I understand. But please, it's Christmas Eve. Can I have until tomorrow? I need to find childcare, and... Miss Sterling, Gerald bursts back in, 3 security guards in tow. Should we escort them out? I've already called the police about the... You called the police? Daniel's voice rises in panic. For what? She's 8 years old. For assault, Gerald gestures dramatically. She physically attacked our most important guest. Emma starts crying again, and something in Victoria Sterling finally snaps. Get out. Gerald blinks. Ma'am. Get out, all of you. Now. Marcus, stay. The guards hesitate. Gerald sputters. Victoria's expression could melt steel. They leave. Mr. Carter. Victoria says when they're alone, except for Marcus. Your daughter just saved me from a face full of broken glass. Do you understand that? Daniel nods numbly. So let me be clear. You're not fired. You're not in trouble. And anyone who called the police on an 8-year-old child will be looking for new employment. She glances at Marcus. Make sure that happens. Yes, ma'am. Daniel stares at her like she's speaking Mandarin. What? Your shift ends at 11, correct? Yes, but... Stay, both of you. I'm having dinner sent to the VIP lounge. You'll eat there. Consider it compensation for emotional distress. Victoria pulls glass fragments from her hair with clinical precision. And Mr. Carter. Tomorrow morning, I want to know why a cardiac surgeon is cleaning my hotel. She walks away, leaving Daniel and Emma frozen in shock. Emma tugs her father's hand. Daddy, is the scary lady being nice? I think so, sweetheart. I like her. Daniel looks at his daughter, then at the retreating figure of Victoria Sterling, and feels the first crack in the ice around his own heart. An hour later, Daniel and Emma sit in a private lounge that costs more per hour than Daniel makes in a week. The furniture is Italian leather. The view overlooks Central Park, snow falling like a Christmas card. A full dinner has been brought. Real food, not gala leftovers. Emma attacks a plate of pasta with joyful abandon. Daniel can't eat. His hands shake too much. He watches his daughter instead, memorizing this moment. When was the last time she smiled like this? The door opens. Victoria enters now in a simple black dress, hair down. She looks younger, almost human. May I sit? Daniel stands immediately. Of course, Miss Sterling. Victoria, please. She sits across from them. Emma stops mid-bite, sauce on her chin. Hi again, Emma says. Thank you for the food. It's really good. You're welcome. Victoria's voice is softer now. What's your favorite subject in school? Science and art. I like mixing colors and making explosions, safe ones. Daddy says I can't make real explosions. A ghost of a smile crosses Victoria's face. Wise rule. They sit in silence for a moment. Why are you being nice to us? Daniel asks suddenly. People like you don't. We're nobody to you. Victoria meets his eyes. Maybe I'm tired of being the person everyone expects me to be. And who's that? A monster. The word hangs in the air. Emma tilts her head. You're not a monster. Monsters don't let little girls eat fancy pasta. Emma. Daniel starts. No, she's right. Victoria looks at the child with something approaching wonder. When was the last time someone wasn't afraid of me? People fear respect, Daniel says carefully. No, they fear power. There's a difference. Victoria stands, walks to the window. I built an empire by being harder than everyone else, colder, more ruthless. And now I'm 34 years old, and I can't remember the last time someone looked at me like I was human. You are human, Emma says simply. Everyone's human. Victoria turns, and for just a second, her mask cracks. Tell that to the business press. They call me the Ice Queen, Sterling's executioner. I've destroyed careers, bankrupted competitors, fired people on Christmas. She stops. Wait, Daniel says slowly. You fired people on Christmas? Last year. Regional manager who embezzled $50,000. I did it via conference call on December 25th. Victoria's voice is hollow. He had 3 kids. Did he steal the money? Yes. Then you did the right thing. Did I? His family. His family suffered because of his choices, not yours. Daniel's voice is firm. You can't save everyone, Miss Sterling. Trust me. I learned that the hard way. Their eyes meet. Understanding passes between them. What happened to your hands? Victoria asks. And for the first time in 7 years, Daniel tells the truth. Her name was Sarah, my wife. Daniel's voice is distant, hollow. She was a trauma nurse. We met at Mount Sinai. She was God. She was everything. Emma has fallen asleep on the couch, curled up like a question mark. Victoria sits perfectly still, listening. We had Emma. Life was perfect. I was chief of cardiac surgery by 32, youngest in the hospital's history. I performed miracles. That's what they called them. Saved hundreds of lives, had articles written about my techniques. His hands start to shake harder. Then, one night, Sarah was driving home from a late shift. A drunk driver ran a red light. T-boned her car at 70 miles an hour. Victoria's breath catches. They called me. I was in surgery, a routine valve replacement. They told me to come immediately. I finished the surgery first. Protocol. The patient was critical. I couldn't just. His voice breaks. By the time I got there, she'd been in the ER for 43 minutes. Massive internal bleeding. They needed a cardiac surgeon. The on-call guy was 30 minutes out. So they waited, for me, because I was the best. Daniel. I walked into that ER and saw my wife on the table, and my hands just stopped working. He holds them up, trembling violently now. Psychogenic tremor, they called it. Trauma-induced. I couldn't hold a scalpel, couldn't even thread a needle. I stood there while she died, and I couldn't save her. Victoria feels something wet on her cheek. She's crying. When was the last time she cried? After that, the tremors never stopped. I tried therapy, medication, everything, but the moment I pick up surgical instruments, my hands betray me. The hospital was kind, gave me time, offered administrative roles, but I couldn't walk those halls anymore. Couldn't see that ER. Couldn't. He stops, breathing hard. So I left, moved to New York, took whatever jobs I could find that didn't require steady hands, and I focused on the only thing I had left, her. He looks at sleeping Emma. Every night, Emma asks me if Mommy's watching from heaven, and I tell her yes, and I hope to God it's true, because Sarah should see what an incredible person our daughter is becoming, and I hope Sarah can forgive me for. Stop. Victoria's voice is sharp. Stop right now. Daniel looks up, startled. You did everything right, Victoria says fiercely. You finished your surgery because a life depended on you. You went to your wife. Your body, your mind, protected you from trauma in the only way it knew how. And you've spent 7 years being both mother and father to that beautiful child. You haven't failed anyone. I failed Sarah. No, life failed both of you, but you're still here, still fighting. Victoria wipes her eyes, surprised by her own emotion. Do you know how many people I've met who gave up after far less? You don't understand. My father embezzled $200 million from his own company, Victoria says suddenly. I was 26, junior VP. He did it using my passwords, my credentials, made it look like I was his accomplice. The board arrested me. The press destroyed me. My own mother testified against me to save herself. Daniel stares. I spent 8 months proving my innocence, lost everything. My reputation, my friends, my fiancé. He left me the day the story broke. Sent a text. Didn't even have the courage to face me. Victoria's laugh is bitter. So I decided to become exactly what they said I was. Cold, ruthless, unbreakable. I rebuilt the company from ashes, drove out every person who betrayed me, and turned myself into someone who could never be hurt again. Did it work? I have $3 billion and nobody to share Christmas with. You tell me. The silence that follows is profound. We're quite a pair, Daniel says finally. Broken people pretending to be functional. Is that what we're doing? Victoria looks at Emma, then at Daniel. I don't know anymore. Victoria stands, suddenly restless. I should let you go. It's late, and then her hand goes to her chest. Miss Sterling? I'm fine. Just, she staggers. The room is. And then she collapses. Victoria, Daniel catches her before she hits the marble. Her skin is clammy, lips tinged blue. Her breathing is rapid and shallow. Emma, wake up. Emma jolts awake. Daddy? Call 911. Now. Tell them. He presses fingers to Victoria's neck. Pulse is thready, irregular. Possible cardiac event. 34-year-old female. Symptoms of. Emma is already on the room phone. Voice clear and calm. We need an ambulance at the Sterling Grand Hotel. VIP Lounge 5. A lady is having a heart attack. Daniel rips open Victoria's dress. No time for modesty. His hands, his goddamn treacherous hands, are shaking violently. But he knows what he's feeling. He's done this 1,000 times. Not a heart attack, he mutters. Arrhythmia. SVT maybe, or... Victoria's eyes flutter open. Can't breathe. I know. Listen to my voice. You're okay. I've got you. His hands won't stop shaking. Emma appears beside him. Daddy, your hands. I know, baby, I know. Then stop looking at them. Daniel freezes. Looks at his daughter. Mommy told me something, Emma says, impossibly calm for 8 years old. Before she died, she said Daddy's hands are magic because they come from his heart. So stop looking at your hands, Daddy. Look at her heart. Something breaks inside Daniel. He closes his eyes, breathes, opens them, and looks at Victoria, really looks at her, sees the fear in her eyes, the vulnerability she's spent years hiding. A human being underneath the armor. His hands still shake, but they move. Victoria, I need you to do exactly what I say. Do you trust me? She nods weakly. On my count, take a deep breath and hold it. Then bear down like you're trying to have a bowel movement. Understand? Another nod. 1, 2, 3, now. Victoria follows his instruction. Daniel's shaking hands press on her carotid artery with perfect precision. 5 seconds. 10. Breathe. Victoria gasps. Her eyes go wide, and her heart rhythm resets. Daniel monitors her pulse. Steady, strong, normal. Oh, thank God, he whispers. Emma throws her arms around both of them. The door bursts open. Marcus rushes in with hotel security and paramedics. What the hell happened? Supraventricular tachycardia, Daniel says, professional mode fully activated. I performed a vagal maneuver. She needs an ECG and probably a 48-hour monitor, but she's stable now. The paramedics stare at the janitor, rattling off medical terms with absolute authority. Who are you? One asks. Someone who used to know what he was doing. Victoria grabs his still trembling hand. Someone who just saved my life. Their eyes meet, and something neither of them can name passes between them. Victoria insisted Daniel and Emma accompany her to the hospital. Now they sit in a private room that looks like a luxury hotel suite, because for VIP patients at Mercy General, it basically is. Victoria wears a hospital gown and monitoring equipment. She's never felt more exposed. Emma is asleep again, this time in a recliner, covered with Daniel's jacket. Daniel stands at the window, watching the city lights. You should go home, Victoria says. Don't have one. She sits up sharply. What? Apartment. Not a home. There's a difference. He turns. Besides, I'm not leaving until your cardiologist confirms you're okay. I'm fine. You fixed me. I performed first aid. There's a reason your heart went haywire, and we need to find out what it is. Daniel, how long have you been having palpitations? The question stops her cold. What makes you think? You weren't surprised when your heart went crazy. Scared, yes. Surprised. No. Daniel crosses his arms. How long? Victoria looks away. 6 months. Maybe a year. Have you seen a doctor? I don't have time for doctors. You almost died tonight. People in my position don't get to be weak. The words explode from her. I have 12,000 employees depending on me. Shareholders. Competitors circling like sharks. I have a board meeting in 3 days that could determine the future of... None of that matters if you're dead. The bluntness of it slaps her into silence. I'm not dying, she says finally. You're killing yourself. Daniel sits on the edge of her bed. I recognize the symptoms because I see them every day in the mirror. You're running from something, using work to avoid feeling, and your body is screaming for you to stop. You don't know anything about me. I know you're 34 and alone on Christmas Eve. I know you work 80-hour weeks. I know you haven't had a real relationship since your father destroyed your life. And I know, his voice softens, that you're absolutely terrified of becoming vulnerable again. Victoria's eyes fill with tears. Don't psychoanalyze me. Then don't lie to me. They stare at each other. Why do you care? Victoria whispers. I'm just some rich woman who almost fired you. Because, for the first time in 7 years, I felt my hands work again. Do you understand what that means? Daniel's voice cracks. When I touched you, when I helped you, something inside me that's been dead, it woke up. And I'm not ready to lose that feeling yet. The heart monitor beats softly in the silence. I'm scared, Victoria admits finally. All the time. Scared of failure, scared of betrayal, scared of being the weak, stupid girl who trusted her father and lost everything. You're not weak. Then why do I feel like I'm drowning? Because you're human. And you've been pretending not to be for too long. Victoria reaches out, takes his trembling hand in hers. Your hands are shaking. They always do. They're beautiful anyway. And she means it. The cardiologist, Dr. Patricia Hayes, 50-something and no nonsense, delivers her verdict at 8 a.m. Miss Sterling, you have a condition called stress-induced cardiomyopathy, Takotsubo syndrome. The medical community also calls it broken heart syndrome. Victoria blinks. That's not a real thing. It absolutely is. Extreme emotional or physical stress can temporarily weaken your heart muscle. Your symptoms, palpitations, chest pain, shortness of breath, they're all consistent. If Mr. Carter hadn't intervened last night, you could have experienced full cardiac arrest. Emma, now awake and eating hospital jello, looks up. My daddy saved you for real. He did, Dr. Hayes says, glancing at Daniel with obvious respect. That vagal maneuver was perfectly executed. You have medical training? Some, Daniel says carefully. Some doesn't cover what you did. That was expert-level intervention. She turns back to Victoria. You need complete rest for at least 2 weeks. No work, no stress, and you need to address whatever's breaking your heart. I have a board meeting on Thursday. Cancel it. I can't just, Ms. Sterling, Dr. Hayes. Hayes says firmly, your heart is literally being damaged by your lifestyle. The next episode could kill you. Is your company worth dying for? Victoria has no answer. Later, after Dr. Hayes leaves, Victoria sits in her hospital bed, staring at the ceiling. Daniel has taken Emma to the cafeteria. Her phone buzzes. She ignores it. It buzzes again and again. Finally, she looks. 47 missed calls, 132 emails, 28 texts, all variations of, "Where are you? The Hartman merger needs your approval. Board members are panicking. Call immediately." Victoria drops the phone like it burned her. Daniel returns, Emma skipping beside him with a chocolate milk. Your assistant is in the lobby, he says. Marcus is keeping her contained, but she's threatening to call the National Guard. Let her wait. Victoria's voice is hollow. Are you okay? No, I'm realizing that my entire life is a job that's literally killing me, and I have no idea how to stop. Emma climbs onto the bed, carefully, avoiding the monitors. Daddy says when things are too big, you make them small. What does that mean? Like, you can't fix everything, but you can fix one thing, then another thing, then another. Emma holds up her fingers, counting. That's what Daddy did when Mommy died. He fixed one day, then another day. Then he fixed me. You weren't broken, sweetheart, Daniel says softly. My heart was, but you fixed it anyway. Victoria looks at this small, wise child, then at her father. What if I don't know how to fix anything? Then maybe, Daniel says carefully, you let someone help you. I don't have anyone. You have us. The words land like a bomb. What? You saved my job, my daughter, gave us dignity, when everyone else saw us as garbage. Daniel's voice is steady. Let us return the favor. I don't need. Yes, you do. Emma's voice is matter of fact. You need friends, and we're really good at being friends. Victoria Sterling, billionaire CEO, corporate legend, the woman who's never needed anyone, bursts into tears. Emma hugs her, and Daniel, very gently, takes her hand. Victoria returns to her office on Monday morning against medical advice. Dr. Hayes was furious. Daniel was quietly disappointed. Emma made her promise to not be stupid. But the board meeting is in 2 hours, and Victoria Sterling doesn't miss board meetings. Her assistant, Jennifer, efficient, loyal, increasingly worried, briefs her in the elevator. The Hartman merger is dead. They pulled out Friday when you didn't respond. Shareholders are spooked. Stock dropped 8%. And Jennifer hesitates. There's something else. The headline has been viewed 4 million times. That's not. Victoria's voice shakes. That's the opposite of what happened. I know, but the narrative is spreading. Twitter is calling for your resignation. The board is in emergency session. And Jennifer's voice drops. Victoria, Gregory Carson called. Everything stops. Gregory Carson, CEO of Carson Industries. Victoria's father's former business partner. The man who helped orchestrate her father's embezzlement. The man who walked away clean while Victoria's life burned. What did he want? He's offering to buy out your majority stake. Says it's a mercy option before the board forces you out. Victoria laughs. It's not a happy sound. He's behind this. The leak, the merger falling through, all of it. We don't have proof. I don't need proof. I know Gregory. Victoria's hands clench. He's been waiting 8 years for this. A chance to take everything I built. What do we do? Victoria looks at the video again, at Emma's bright, fierce face, at Daniel, frozen in horror at his daughter's supposed crime, and makes a decision. Get me Daniel Carter, now. Daniel arrives at Sterling Tower an hour later, confused and nervous. He's never been in this part of Manhattan, the part where buildings touch clouds and decisions move billions. Emma holds his hand, equally awed. A sleek elevator shoots them to the 60th floor. Victoria meets them in a conference room that's all glass and steel and desperation. Jennifer is there. Marcus. 3 lawyers who look like they bill by the breath. What's going on? Daniel asks. Victoria shows him the video. His face goes white. Oh God, Emma. It's a lie, Victoria says fiercely. But it's a convincing lie, and it's destroying me. Why would anyone? Because I have enemies, powerful ones, and they see an opening. Victoria's eyes are haunted. My board meets in 90 minutes. If I can't prove this video is manipulated and explain my absence, they'll vote me out, and a man named Gregory Carson will take everything. I don't understand what this has to do with us. You're in the video. You're a witness to what really happened. If you testify, I'm a janitor with a criminal record. Victoria stops. What? Daniel's jaw tightens. After Sarah died, I had a breakdown. Assault charge, bar fight. Dismissed eventually, but it's on my record. Nobody will believe me. I believe you, Emma says. Everyone turns to look at her. The 8-year-old stands in the middle of this corporate war room, small and fierce and absolutely certain. I believe him, and I was there. I saved you. So the video is lying. Sweetheart, Daniel says gently, this isn't a fight we can win, Victoria finishes. Maybe not, but I've never walked away from a fight in my life. She kneels in front of Emma. If I put you on camera, if I make you tell the truth, people will attack you, say cruel things. Your picture will be everywhere. Are you brave enough for that? Emma looks at her father. Then back at Victoria. You're my friend. Friends help each other. Daddy taught me that. Victoria's eyes fill with tears for the second time in 3 days. Daniel, she says, standing, I need your help, not as a witness, as a strategist. I don't know anything about business, but you know about saving lives under pressure. And right now, I need someone who knows how to make life or death decisions. Daniel looks at his daughter, at this woman who's shown them more kindness in 3 days than most people have in years. What do you need? The board meeting is in 30 minutes. Daniel, Victoria, and Jennifer huddle around a laptop while Emma draws on a whiteboard, which is actually helping somehow, her childish diagrams cutting through complexity. Walk me through it, Daniel says. Who benefits from you being gone? Gregory Carson. He wants my company. Why? Revenge. Greed. Power. Which one matters most? Victoria pauses, thinks. Revenge. He hates that I succeeded after my father failed, that I rebuilt what they destroyed. So this is personal. Very. Then we make it personal back. Daniel's mind is working, the same rapid-fire analysis he used in surgical emergencies. He leaked the video. Can we trace it? Our IT team tried. Dead end. Who has access to gala footage? Hotel security. My security team. Event coordinators. Who hired the coordinators? I don't know. Jennifer. Jennifer types rapidly. Third-party vendor. Elite Events Manhattan. They. Oh God. What? Elite Events is owned by a holding company, which is owned by another holding company, which, 3 layers deep, is owned by Carson Industries. Silence. He planted someone, Daniel says, at your event, with instructions to create a scandal. The server, Victoria whispers. The one who dropped the champagne. It wasn't an accident. Emma looks up from her drawing. The mean man told him to. Everyone stares at her. What mean man, sweetheart? Daniel asks. The one in the hallway. Before the glass broke. I saw him talking to the waiter. He was really mean. He said, Emma scrunches her face, remembering, do it when she's on stage, or you're fired. Victoria grabs her phone. Marcus, I need security footage from the service corridor. 7:47 p.m., Christmas Eve. 2 minutes later, the footage loads. And there, clear as day, is Gerald Winters, the hotel manager, threatening a server with a tray of champagne. That son of a bitch, Victoria breathes. He's on Carson's payroll, Jennifer confirms, checking records. Hired 6 months ago. Recommendation from Carson's head of HR. Daniel leans back. So Gregory Carson plants an employee in your hotel. That employee creates a scandal. The scandal gets leaked by Gregory. The merger falls apart. Probably also Gregory. Your board panics and votes me out, Victoria finishes. God, it's elegant. Destroy me without touching me directly. Can we prove it? With this footage, maybe. But proving conspiracy takes time, and the board meeting is, Jennifer checks her watch, 17 minutes away. Then we don't prove conspiracy, Daniel says. We prove innocence. Show the board what really happened. That Emma saved you from injury. That the video is edited. They won't care. They just want the scandal gone. Then give them a bigger story. Victoria meets his eyes. What? You almost died 3 days ago. Stress-induced heart failure because you work yourself to death for a company that treats you like a commodity. Daniel's voice is passionate now, alive. Stop playing defense. Go on offense. Tell them the truth. All of it. Daniel, I can't show weakness. You're not weak. You're human. And if they can't see the difference, they don't deserve to lead your company. Victoria stares at him. Then, slowly, she smiles. Jennifer, call the board. Tell them the meeting starts now. 15 board members sit around a table that costs more than most people's houses. They're restless, angry, scared. Their stock options are bleeding. Their reputations are at risk. Gregory Carson sits at the far end, not officially on the board, but invited as a concerned shareholder. He's 60, silver-haired, perfectly composed, a snake in a $10,000 suit. Victoria enters alone. No Jennifer, no lawyers, no armor. She looks small, tired, human. Ms. Sterling, the board chairman, Robert Chen, 65, a father figure who used to be her mentor, speaks carefully. We've reviewed the situation, the video, the merger collapse, the stock drop, and we have concerns. I'm sure you do. We need to discuss your leadership moving forward. Before you do, Victoria says, I'd like to tell you all a story. Gregory leans forward, smiling slightly. This should be good. Victoria opens her laptop, connects it to the screen. On Christmas Eve, I attended a gala at the Sterling Grand Hotel. During my speech, a server dropped a tray of champagne and glass directly toward my face. A child, 8 years old, pushed me out of the way. She saved me from serious injury. Possibly saved my eye. She plays the unedited hotel footage, the real footage. The board watches in silence. That's not the video that went viral, Robert says quietly. No, the viral video was edited by someone working for Gregory Carson. Every head turns toward Gregory. He doesn't flinch. That's a serious accusation. I have proof. Victoria displays the evidence, the planted employee, the financial connections, the conspiracy. You orchestrated this entire scandal to force me out. Didn't you, Gregory? Your paranoia is showing, Victoria. Then explain why your holding company owns the events vendor, why your employee, Gerald Winters, gave orders to create the accident, why you called to offer a buyout the same day the video leaked. Gregory's smile doesn't waver. Coincidence? Bullshit. The profanity shocks the room. Victoria Sterling never curses in board meetings. You've wanted to destroy me since I rebuilt this company. Since I succeeded where my father failed. Since I proved that I'm nothing like him. Victoria's voice rises. But here's what you didn't account for. I don't care anymore. Excuse me? Fire me. Take the company. I'm done. The room explodes in shocked murmurs. Victoria. 3 days ago, I collapsed from stress-induced heart failure. My doctor says I'm literally working myself to death. And standing here, looking at all of you, I realize, her voice breaks. I don't want to die for this. Miss Sterling, you're not thinking clearly. I'm thinking clearly for the first time in years. Victoria closes her laptop. I built this company to prove I wasn't my father. To prove I wasn't weak. And in the process, I became exactly what I hated. Someone who sacrifices everything for power. She looks at Gregory. You win. Take the company. I'm out. And she walks toward the door. Victoria has her hand on the doorknob when the conference room door opens. Daniel walks in. Behind him, Emma holds a tablet. Behind them, Jennifer and Marcus. Miss Sterling, Daniel says, formally, you forgot something. Daniel, I told you to stay in the... You forgot to tell them about the janitor. Confusion ripples through the room. Daniel sets a folder on the table. My name is Dr. Daniel Carter. 7 years ago, I was chief of cardiac surgery at Mount Sinai Hospital. I performed over 600 successful cardiac operations. I taught at Columbia Medical School. I published in JAMA. I had job offers from Johns Hopkins and Mass General. The board stares. Then my wife died in a car accident while I was in surgery. I developed a psychogenic tremor that ended my career. For 7 years, I've worked as a janitor, a night watchman, whatever I could find that didn't require steady hands. I became invisible, disposable. He looks at Victoria. Then I met Miss Sterling, and she did something nobody else has done in 7 years. She saw me. Not as a janitor. As a person. She defended my daughter when everyone else wanted to throw us out. She trusted me when my hands shook. And 3 days ago, when she collapsed from a heart condition caused by carrying the weight of this company alone, she let me save her life. Emma steps forward, hands him the tablet. This is security footage from the Sterling Grand Hotel. It shows Gerald Winters, hired by Gregory Carson, instructing a server to create an accident during Miss Sterling's speech. It shows my daughter saving Miss Sterling from injury, and it shows Miss Sterling protecting us when everyone else wanted us arrested. Daniel advances on the table, the folder in his hand. This folder contains documentation of every charitable foundation Ms. Sterling has funded, every scholarship program, every employee benefit increase, every time she's taken a pay cut so workers could get better health care. Things she's never publicized because she doesn't do kindness for credit. He looks at the board members one by one. I'm a janitor. I see things nobody else does. I see the executives who yell at cleaning staff, the board members who ignore people they consider beneath them, the corporate leaders who treat human beings like assets. Daniel stops in front of Robert Chen, and I see Victoria Sterling working 16-hour days, skipping meals, ignoring her health, carrying this company on her shoulders because she's absolutely terrified that if she shows one moment of weakness, people like Gregory Carson will take everything she's built. He turns to Gregory. You want to know why you'll never be like her? Because she became powerful by caring, and you're powerful because you don't. Gregory's face has gone red. This is absurd. You're going to listen to a janitor with a criminal record? Assault charge. Daniel agrees. From a bar fight when I was drunk and grieving, the charges were dropped. But you're right, I'm nobody. Just a guy who mops floors. He pulls out one more paper. Unless you count the 37 doctors who signed this letter, all former colleagues, all swearing that I was one of the best cardiac surgeons in the country, all saying they'd trust me with their lives. He drops it on the table. Or the letter from the president of Mount Sinai offering me a position in their research department, non-surgical, accommodating my condition, if I ever want to return to medicine. The board is silent. Or, Daniel says softly, the testimony of an 8-year-old girl who thinks Victoria Sterling is a hero because she gave us food and dignity on Christmas Eve when we had neither. Emma steps forward, looks up at the board with those bright, fearless eyes. My daddy says you're supposed to help people who help you. Miss Sterling helped us. So we're helping her. And if you fire her, you're bad people. The simplicity of it hits like a hammer. Robert Chen takes off his glasses, rubs his eyes. Gregory, he says quietly, get out. Robert, you can't seriously. Get out. Security will escort you, and expect legal action for corporate sabotage. Gregory Carson stands slowly, looks at Victoria with pure hatred. You'll regret this. No, Victoria says. I really won't. He leaves. When the door closes, Robert stands. Victoria, I've known you since you were 26 years old. I watched you rebuild this company from nothing. I've seen you work harder than anyone I've ever met. And I've watched you disappear into this job. He walks around the table. As chairman of this board, I'm making an executive decision. You're taking a leave of absence. Mandatory. 3 months. Full pay. Dr. Hayes will monitor your recovery. You'll stay on as CEO. Nobody else could do the job, but you'll learn to delegate, to trust, to be human. Robert, that's the deal. Take it or we'll force it. Victoria looks around the table, sees nods, sees concern, sees, for the first time in years, people who actually care about her. Okay, she whispers. And Victoria? Robert's voice is gentle. Thank you for trusting us with the truth. We should have asked sooner. She nods, unable to speak. The board members file out, several stopping to squeeze her shoulder, to whisper apologies, to show unexpected kindness. Finally, it's just Victoria, Daniel, Emma, Jennifer, and Marcus. You didn't have to do that. Victoria says to Daniel. Yes, I did. Why? Because someone once told me that you can't save everyone, but you can save one person, then another, then another. He smiles. Emma's words, your lesson. Victoria looks at this man, this brilliant, broken, beautiful man who came into her life 3 days ago and somehow changed everything. I don't know what happens now, she admits. Neither do I. I'm a mess. So am I. I don't know how to not work 80 hours a week. We'll figure it out. I don't know how to be vulnerable. Daniel steps closer, takes her hand, trembling as always. Then we'll learn together. Emma tugs both their sleeves. Can we go home now? I'm tired of fancy buildings. They laugh. It feels like breathing after being underwater. Spring has arrived in New York. Central Park is green and alive. Children play. Birds sing. The city has remembered how to be beautiful. Victoria Sterling sits on a bench, watching Emma and 3 other children from a nearby elementary school play on the swings. They're part of a new after-school program, the Sarah Carter Memorial Arts Initiative, funded by Victoria, named by Emma. Daniel sits beside her, sketching in a notebook. His hands still shake, but he's learning to work with it. He's been consulting with Mount Sinai's research department, developing new tremor management techniques. Part-time, reasonable hours. Victoria checks her phone. Force of habit. Work? Daniel asks. Jennifer asking if I'll be at the board meeting Thursday. Will you? For 2 hours. Then I'm leaving. She puts the phone away. It's Emma's art show. I promised I'd be there. She'll be thrilled. They sit in comfortable silence. I got an email from Gregory Carson's lawyer, Victoria says eventually. And? He's dropping all countersuits. Apparently, when we exposed him, 12 other companies came forward with similar stories. He's facing federal charges. How do you feel? Relieved, sad. He was my father's friend once, before everything went wrong. People make choices. They do. Emma races over, breathless and bright. Daddy, Miss Sterling, watch this. She runs back to the swings, pumps her legs, and launches herself into the air. For a moment, she's flying. Daniel's breath catches. She's so much like Sarah. She's like both of you. He looks at Victoria. Are you happy? The question is simple but profound. Victoria thinks, really thinks. I'm learning to be, she says finally. For 34 years, I thought happiness was weakness, that joy was a distraction, that love was a liability. And now? Now I think maybe I was just scared. Daniel takes her hand, the one that doesn't shake and the one that does. Can I tell you something? He asks. Anything. 3 months ago, I was emptying trash cans and trying not to think about the life I lost. I was surviving, not living. And then a little girl pushed over a CEO, and everything changed. That's my daughter's superpower, Victoria says. She sees what people need and gives it to them. She learned it from someone. Victoria looks at Emma, then at Daniel. I need to tell you something too, she says carefully. Okay. I'm falling in love with you. The words hang in the spring air. Both of you, Victoria continues. Emma and you. This weird, unexpected, completely illogical thing that's happened, and it terrifies me. Because you might lose us? Because I might lose myself again. Become the person who needs you too much. Who disappears into loving you the way I disappeared into work. Daniel turns to face her fully. Victoria Sterling, you are the strongest person I've ever met. You rebuilt an empire with your bare hands. You survived betrayal, scandal, and literal heart failure. And you're still here, still fighting, still learning to be vulnerable. So, So stop thinking love is another job you have to excel at. Love isn't about being perfect. It's about being present. Can you do that? Victoria looks at him, really looks at him, at this man who saved her, not by fixing her, but by simply being there. I want to try. That's all anyone can do. Emma runs over again, this time with a flower, a dandelion. I found you a wishing flower, she announces, presenting it to Victoria. What should I wish for? You're not supposed to tell, but Emma leans in, whispers loudly. You should wish for us to be a family. Because I already did. Victoria's eyes fill with tears. Did you? Yep. Every day for 3 months. So it has to come true. That's how wishes work. She skips away, leaving Victoria holding a dandelion and crying on a park bench. Daniel puts his arm around her. Is she right? Victoria whispers. Can we be a family? We already are. And there, in Central Park on a perfect spring afternoon, Victoria Sterling finally understands what she's been searching for her entire life. Not power, not revenge, not redemption. Just this, a man with trembling hands who sees her, a child with a fierce heart who loves her, and the courage to believe she deserves them both. She blows on the dandelion. Seeds scatter like stars. And somewhere, somehow, she knows Sarah Carter is watching and smiling. Victoria and Daniel stand in the lobby of Sterling Tower. But it looks different now. The cold marble has been warmed with art, paintings by children from the Sarah Carter Memorial Program. The waiting area has comfortable chairs and free coffee. The security guards smile. Emma, now 9, walks between them, holding both their hands. They're here for a ribbon cutting. The new Sterling Carter Foundation for Medical Research and Emotional Healing. A building where doctors with disabilities can continue their work, where people with broken hearts, literal and metaphorical, can find help. Daniel's hands still shake. Victoria's heart still needs monitoring. But they're here, together, building something new. Ready? Victoria asks. Ready, Daniel confirms. Emma grins. Let's go change the world. And they do. Because that's what happens when 2 broken people and 1 fierce little girl decide that love is stronger than trauma, that vulnerability is braver than armor, and that sometimes the people who save you are the ones you never expected. The CEO and the janitor, the ice queen and the surgeon with trembling hands, the woman who had everything and the man who lost it all. And the child who brought them together on Christmas Eve and taught them both how to live again.